Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Laurie Smith on Blog Talk Radio. Good morning. 10 o'clock here in the morning, Calgary, Alberta, Saturday, November the 13th. I'm happy to be here. And, this is Worldwide Epidemic of Child Abuse and Human Rights Abuses. It's just a show that I wanted to do at least once a week just to talk about the whole issue, worldwide issue of the horrific stuff that's going on out there. It's absolutely ridiculous, really, this world of ours. And it's all preventable. If people would just straighten up and stop hurting each other, this wouldn't be happening. And so I have, emails popping into my inbox all the time because I set it up that I was studying international community development, and I'm actually in between courses because I cannot afford to go, sadly enough. But I set it up so that all this information would pop into my inbox. I wouldn't have to go necessarily searching for it, right? So I get stuff in my inbox all the time, and it's just horrible what's going on out there. We know what's going on out there. You just turn on your TV, turn on your mainly the television, and some radio programs are talking about it, but mainly it's the television. And you can see what's going on around the world, and also on the internet. And it's so sick and sad and wrong. And I was sitting around 3.5 years ago, just thinking why am I not getting off the couch and saying something? You know what I mean? Like, this is ridiculous. I saw a program on TV that really just it didn't shock me because I grew up abused, and I grew up seeing people getting hurt, and being hurt their whole entire lives. But the whole issue is I was watching this program on TV, and it was about this woman in Afghanistan. And it kind of got me motivated to get off the couch and do something instead of leaving it up to all these other people, because that's what I was doing. I was so happy to see all these people out here around the world doing all this stuff to help, protect human rights and child rights. I've always been very interested in this, growing up the way that I did. And, I thought, yeah, it's so great. Other people are doing this. This is wonderful. And then I thought, why am I just sitting here? I can be a voice. I can do something. Well, we all can. And that's the whole issue, right? Everybody needs to get involved. Everybody needs to change this world. It's going to be up to all of us, right? So that's what really got me motivated to get busy and get started on this road, to becoming involved in human rights, child rights, especially child abuse prevention. And because children just, without us, have no rights. If we don't stand up and uphold their rights, they really have none. Adults have a lot more opportunity to voice out their opinions, and even, though around the world so many times adults are, victims of violence, right, obviously. But children, without somebody protecting them, really, they have no voice. And so we have to be their voice, right? So that's why I'm doing these shows. And I want to do one show a week just talking about the whole worldwide issue, because I see these articles and I see what's going on, and it's just so disturbing and so disgusting. And I can't believe that people, around the world are still having to deal with this. This is 2010, almost 2011. Like, when are we going to wake up and smell the coffee? When are we going to see, to me, these people that are doing this stuff, like over in Africa and different parts of the world, these people that are out here hurting people and killing people, maiming people, all because, they want whatever they can get, so they just kill people to get it. They must be so completely ignorant. I mean, I try to think, what's wrong with these people that are out here raping people, killing people, slicing people's body parts off. They'd have to be so completely ignorant, like their minds would have to be almost like, I would think a monkey or a gorilla would have more intelligence. You know what I mean? Like, these people's minds, they must be so warped and so, the degradation just must be so bad that they just don't, for whatever reason, know how to stop themselves from doing this stuff. That's how sick and sad and sorry this world is. That this could even happen anywhere on this planet really makes me extremely mad, because what happened to these people that would cause them to be this way? These marauders, these people that are out killing people, raping people, making people do these horrible things, and, killing children and just doing whatever they want, and everybody's sort of, at their mercy, right, whether they live or die. And, I mean, to me, honest to God, I mean, they're just like a vermin. I just think we should wipe them out, because to me, they're so sick. How could you ever rehabilitate one of those people, right? It's bad enough we can't even rehabilitate the stupid people in our own country, North America, in our own countries, Canada, United States. These stupid, sick, sad, sorry child sexual predators and violent sexual predators and sick people out here who hurt people. and think it's okay to do it. And then there's a whole lot of people in society that stand up and say, yeah, we got to protect the child sexual predators. No, we got to protect our children, man. Like what is going on? And, this just makes me angry that society sits back and just allows this to happen. And we got to all stand up. We can't take up arms because that's just two wrongs don't make a right. But we got to take up our voices. We got to take it to the government. We got to take it to the places where it counts and start getting something done about this. And, people in those other countries, I feel bad for them. I really do. Honest to God, they're going to have to, whole generations are going to have to die off because obviously there's all the people that are in charge of the countries right now, whatever age they are, those people are going to have to die off, and all the adults are going to have to die off, and we're going to have to get a hold of those children and educate them and show them that is wrong and that everything about their country is wrong, and start helping them to rebuild their country and their lives, because this is absolutely pathetic that this is going on. It just makes me sick. And if you were a person suffering in that and were raped by militiamen and 20, 30 people and had your body parts sliced off, I think you'd be screaming out for justice too. But you'd probably die, so you wouldn't be able to. But you would hope that somebody would, right? And so this is the whole issue we all have to get involved in. As much as it's uncomfortable and it's ridiculous and it's so sad and sick and wrong that we have to do this, somebody's got to stand up and say it's not right, and we got to make the changes to help these people and to help our own people as well. This makes me so sick. And it's sad that people in the United States and Canada would back up this kind of garbage. And that's why I'm so fighting against this, because it's like people even with the education that we have over here in North America, would actually say, oh, well, what's wrong with that? No, there is something wrong with that, And if you were ever a victim of that, you'd be crying out too. That's the sad part, is so many people like to back up violence and stuff and think it's funny, you know what I mean? But there's something wrong with them, obviously, right? Because it's extremely wrong. This article that I want to start with it's from Somalia. It's called Children Facing the Worst, says UN. This is from IRIN News logo, IRIN News, Humanitarian News and Analysis, a service of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. This was posted November the 4th, 2010. Nairobi, it says armed groups in Somalia have continued recruiting children to fight and engage in piracy, and girls have found themselves facing increased risk of sexual violence, a senior UN official says. I mean, we know this is going on. I mean, this is just going on all over the world, but we know it's going on in Africa, right? In some areas, Al-Shabaab leaders are asking parents to give them a child. I heard of people hiding their children to escape recruitment. Radhika Kumaraswamy, the special representative of the UN Secretary General, the SRSG, for Children in Armed Conflict, told a news conference on 3rd of November following a mission to Somalia and the semi-autonomous regions of Puntland and Somaliland. Children are expressing the difficulty of living in Mogadishu, she added. As they walk past checkpoints, they are told your ankles are showing, wear something long. Then later they cross the TFG, the Transitional Federal Government checkpoints, and are told they are Al-Shabaab due to their clothing. It is the reason they are going to Puntland. Sexual and gender-based violence, Kumaraswamy said, was on the increase, according to Child Protection Partners, with fast, quick marriages, killing and maiming of concern. These young boys, fighters, are marrying young girls and then moving on to others. Forced marriages are making a comeback, she said. A 9-year-old girl told Kumaraswamy, my greatest fear besides thieves is that men will come and do violence to women and girls in the night, quote unquote. That's from a 9-year-old girl. Kumaraswamy said she had not had access to the Al-Shabaab and Hizbul Islam militia, but urged states with an influence on the parties to call for the release of children in their ranks. She expressed concerns over the use of radio in schools to recruit children in militia-controlled regions. The special representative also said children were held alongside adults as pirates in Bosaso Central Prison. The adults are not separated from the children, and there are complaints of abuse, she said. The frontline pirate troops are increasingly children and youth. The big pirates do not go out. They have become businessmen. It is the young children, 15 to 17-year-olds, who are sent out. And armed groups, she added, were exploiting the fact that children have a less developed concept of death and tend to be fearless fighters. Children are susceptible due to notions of romantic death. She said that the new Somali Prime Minister, Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed, had pledged to stop the recruitment of child soldiers, and the government will work with the TFG and allies toward the UN action plan for the release and verification of the release of child soldiers, Kumaraswamy said, adding that some released children were already in the African Union mission to Somalia, AMISOM, AMISOM camp in Mogadishu. And she said there are two schools of thought regarding TFG recruitment of child soldiers. One, that the TFG proper was not doing the recruiting, but its allies were, while others say that even the checkpoints are run by the TFG itself. In 2008, I said the African child suffers the most, but I think the Somali child suffers even more, she said. So that was a report that was put out November the 4th. But this is just so sick and sad and wrong, and this is going on all over the place. And I mean, I actually know one of the people who actually the children, the lost boys who were marching and kind of starving to death, marching across Africa. I met one of the guys who was part of that group who, you know, he luckily survived, but he was talking to me and a whole group of people about the fact that, you know, these child soldiers and whatnot, right, they are abducted into this. A lot of them are taken from their homes, abducted in, forced to kill their parents or village people, forced to rape women and men, and then forced to kill, and then they feel so much shame due to it that they have a hard time coming back into society after they get freed from these militia groups, right? Because they know what they did was wrong, but yet they didn't want to die, so they either had the choice to die or to become one of these crazy killers, you know, and abusers, you know, sick people. So it's so sad, it's so wrong, and like, I mean, if we don't speak out against this stuff and we just say, oh well, that's okay, no big deal, you know, it's not affecting me or my family, well, you know what, it will down the long road, because these people are the future of the world, right? And it will affect your grandchildren. So if you have children, you better start thinking about your grandkids, and you better start thinking about what kind of world your grandkids are going to be growing up in, and maybe their kids, right? So your great-grandchildren, right? Like, this is absolutely wrong. It needs to stop, and we got to do whatever we can within our own country, North America, Canada, the United States, whichever, you know, Mexico. I mean, we've got to include them in there too. North America, really, this is just ridiculous. The stuff that's going on here, but even around the world, these countries, they're so backwards and so screwed up that it's going to take a long time to really fix their problems. You know, even we can't even solve our own problems with child abuse and neglect. We got 17-year-old mothers out there killing their babies because they cried and they wanted to play Farmville. You know, we've got 38-year-old people sexually using children and exploiting children online with internet, you know, pornography. We've got, you know, 28-year-old women killing their children and cutting their necks and slicing their, you know, I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous and sick and wrong. And I think the punishment really needs to be a lot harsher. And I think that they got to stop handing out these stupid sentences of 5 to 7 years and all this garbage. It's like, it should be life, mandatory life sentence. And that way, more people will think about what they're doing to their children and will stop abusing their children and maybe even their partners. I think it should be mandatory life sentence for any type of abuse towards anybody. And I think the world, you would see North America straighten up pretty quick if they thought they were going in for good. You know what I mean? If they thought that they were not going to be able to get off on some stupid sentence and, you know, pay a $10,000 fine or something, and away they walk, you know. If people thought, oh God, if I do this, you know, and I hurt my family, I'm going to go to prison for life. I will never ever get out. I will never ever be free ever again. You think you watch how many people would straighten up, you know, and stop hurting their children. Well, I believe that every single life is worth that. I really do. I think every single child and baby out there that's being born right now, I think their lives are so much more worth what our courts and our judges and our people who are handing down these sentences think that human life is worth. And it makes me sick that the abuser gets to walk free after what they've done to their children or their partners, spouses, and neighbors, whoever. You know, it makes me so incredibly sick and sad that human life doesn't mean anything at all except for the abusers' lives. They mean something. The abuser's life and the murderer's life means something, but the victim's life absolutely meant nothing, obviously, to the world, to the courts, to the, you know, because there was nothing done. You know, and this makes me so angry, and I know it makes a lot of people angry, but getting angry doesn't help. Getting proactive really does. And so, you know, it's okay to be angry about it, but the thing is, it doesn't get us anywhere. What does get us somewhere is using your voice and using your vote and using your power, you know, proactively to get something done. Promote education. You know, we have to promote education, all kinds of education, because it's a serious issue. We got to promote programs that help young mothers, you know, so that they don't kill their children because they want to play Farmville. We got to promote anger management programs for young men who would just kill babies because they're crying, or, they peed on the couch or something, right? Parents do this all the time. They kill babies and children for the stupidest reason, because they take a muffin off the stove, or they say something wrong and they kill the children, And this is just in North America, so you can imagine what's going on around the world, because people in these other countries, they can just kill children and completely get away with it. It's no problem, right? They just kill children and get away with it. Bury them, or just don't bury them, and then go on and kill more children or abuse them, right? It just makes me so sick. So here's another article from IRIN, the IRIN Humanitarian News and Analysis, a service of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. This is another one. This was posted November the 10th, 2010. It's called Gender, Raped in Guinea, Then Raped Again in Senegal. On 28 September 2009, in a Guinea stadium, Deneba was raped by a soldier while another beat her head. Calling her a criminal and a whore, the men then shoved a wooden club into her vagina. I was hanging between life and death, quote unquote. In a way, she still is. Now living in the Senegalese capital, Dakar, where she and several other women raped that day received medical treatment, she is far from her family and has abandoned her studies, which were my life, my future, quote unquote. That is how I was going to contribute to my parents. She said she would have finished her master's in economics this year. I'm among the rape victims, but I'm still a militant of a political party and someone who wants to fight for Guinea. People demonstrated on 28 September in the capital, Conakry, to call for an end to military rule in Guinea, to say no to the presidential candidacy of coup leader Moussa Dadis Camara. Human Rights Watch reckons 150 to 200 people were killed when security forces attacked the pro-democracy rally at the stadium in Conakry. Dozens of women of all ages were raped. Young women were raped along with their mothers. It's abominable, said Ibrahima Baldi of the Center Marriott and Alphonse, a clinic in the city where rape victims continue to turn for medical and psychosocial care. Deneba makes a slicing motion at her chest as she says, one of the Red Berets, Presidential Guard, cut off the breast of a young woman, probably 17 or 18, right in front of me. At that moment in my mind, I was saying, this is it, it's over. Apparently, not all of the soldiers were ready to kill and rape that day. A woman who identified herself as A.B., who lives in Conakry's Hamdalaya neighborhood, told IRIN that after two soldiers raped her, another man in military uniform intervened. And he brought me to an area where there was some other women, and two youths came and said they would protect us. Then the first group of soldiers came and shot the young men. The soldiers ordered us to laugh and applaud. Engraved in Dakar, Deneba's food and rent are still covered by donors helping stadium victims, but the 30-year-old university student who was active in civic life said her life today, mostly eating and sleeping with the occasional chat with building mates and fellow Guineans, leaves her far too much space for memories, especially at night, but even during the day, thoughts and visions of the violence flood her mind. That day is engraved on our minds, quote unquote, she said there. The event persists in another indelible way for Deneba, in color photographs that clearly identify her and two other rape victims, published in a Senegalese magazine. She keeps a copy in a knapsack with her medical and university documents. The women said they had no idea their images were going to be published. The magazine circulated in Guinea and was covered on national TV there. My family saw it. Some people in Guinea were saying we took money to denounce our country and Dadis. We were raped in Guinea, then raped again in Senegal. I still see that publication in shops. To this day, people say to me, hey, didn't I see you in that magazine? I tell them it's not me. There are days I simply dare not go out. Imagine, even people in Guinea who don't know me will now see me as someone who was raped. This all just weighs too heavily on me. The adage is where there is life, there is hope. A lot of people died in that stadium that day, but I don't know when the hope is going to emerge. And that HIV, sitting on a mattress in her room in Dakar, Deneba hands over some medical documents. HIV positive is written in bold black in the middle of the first page. This is the second thing blocking her from returning home to Guinea. In Guinea, if you say you have HIV, people will be afraid of you, especially in my ethnic group, Peulh, P-E-U-L-H. People will say I'm going to contaminate them. They won't eat with me. They will reject me. I long to see my parents. I miss my country, but when I think of the HIV, I decide to stay on here for now. I always envisioned a family, children, a good husband, but now with HIV, how could I ever have a husband? Back in Guinea, if the family were ever to say there is a man who wants to marry me, once he learns about the HIV, he would never come around again. That hurts. So this is all her talking here, right? She said she sees a doctor periodically to check out her CD4 count, which measures the strength of one's immune system. For now, it is not at a level to start antiretrovirals. Even where were she to find someone who would accept her HIV status, she is not sure she could ever interact in any meaningful way with a man again. Just seeing a man is agonizing for me. When I see a man, it's as if instantly I'm naked in front of him. I used to say hello to men and we'd kid around, but now even if sometimes I say hello, it's not coming from me. Deep inside I've got hatred. All men did this to me. Move on, but don't forget. Deneba said she remains broken partly because her country still is. Like many others in Guinea, she had hoped the events of 28 September would make a long overdue political transition irreversible in Guinea. But since a presidential election on 27th of June, political strife and violent clashes between supporters of the two second-round candidates have marred the process. She is alarmed by the uncertainty and the ethnic hostilities. Her own peace of mind and future, she said, hangs largely on how things will evolve in Guinea. When she heard of long-standing ethnic tension surfacing in the election campaign, she feared Guinea leaders were forgetting 28 September. All the Guinea's ethnic groups were in the stadium that day. When I heard people so focused on ethnicity, this burns me inside. I'm worried about it. It is as if they've forgotten. Supporters of the two candidates, Salou Delaine Diallo from the 40% strong Peul ethnic group and Alpha Condé from the second largest group, the Malinke, are largely divided along ethnic lines. I cannot be at peace until the country is stable, Deneba said. Guinea's leaders must remember the girls, the women, the grandmothers who were raped on 28 September. Put ethnocentrism aside and think of our collective future. It is because of us, because of the rapes, that the world paid attention and things turned around. But today there's no telling where Guinea is going. And so that was not her real name, Deneba. But isn't that just sad? That's so pathetic. And it just makes me sick that, that this is going on around our world and that, what are we going to do? It's like, oh my God. So what's it going to take? Well, it's going to take all those people, those really sick individuals, to die, first of all. They're all going to have to die off, so we're going to have to wait for how many generations, you know what I mean? And then we're going to have to reach the young people and really get a hold of the young people around the world and get them a message that this is wrong, has to stop, and help them to help their own countries out. Because, we can't fix the world's problems. North America just can't fix the world's problems. The world is going to have to start becoming responsible for their own countries. Leaders are going to have to start, they won't change the way they feel because they're so, I don't know, brain damaged or something. I don't know what's the matter with these sick people out here. But all I know is there's something wrong with them. They're evil. And, they're going to have to die, right? And then somebody with a decent, a whole bunch of decent people are going to have to take over the country, right? And how is it going to happen? I don't know, but it's going to be up to those people. They really need to change their own countries, and because we can't do it. You know what I mean? It's going to take a whole lot of people to die off and a whole lot of normal, civilized people who want to see a good world for their children and their grandchildren to come in, step in, and take over the countries, right? And it's harsh. It's so harsh. This is really stupid that this is all still happening. I can't believe it. With the 2011, it's almost 2011, and we're still dealing with this garbage. And it's like, how long? Probably forever, because men's hearts are evil, and that's all there is to it. There's a lot of evil people out there and a lot of sick people, and unless we really, work to promote education and awareness, the young people will just follow what they know. They'll follow in the footsteps of these evil, ignorant people, you know what I mean? So the more education you can promote, the better. That's how I feel about it. Education is really going to be I think, the main factor in changing this world. And, because education comes down to every part of a person's life, it's like teach them to be self-reliant as far as their country goes, to get them out of their poverty situations, because they need to learn how to take care of themselves and how to fend for themselves as countries. They need to learn how to build within their own countries to support their own people. And really because see, that's the whole thing. Most of these dictators that take over these countries and take over the power within the country, they destroy the schools, they kill the teachers, right? Because if you can destroy history and you can destroy the teachers and the education, then you can have the people under your thumb. And that is the truth, my friends. And, it's too bad that people don't really know about that, but it's so true. If a leader can come in or a group of people and destroy the schools, destroy the books, destroy the education, they can take over that country and they can have everyone under their thumb, because people then don't realize that they were ever free. It's what happened in Afghanistan. It's what happened in Africa. It's what's happened around the world since time began, because that's how people control people, right? So That's why militiamen and everybody else always kill the teachers and burn the schools down, right? And get rid of the books. They don't want anybody to know that they were ever free. Then once the first generation dies off, the next generations grow up under those militants' thumbs, and then they've got control of them and their minds, and they don't even know how to get themselves free, right? And then all the children born after them will just think that that's the way life is, and they won't even try to question it. So that's what people do. That's what these sick dictators do. It's what Hitler did. It's what all of those people do around the world. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and name them all. It would just take the whole show to do that. But there's so many people around the world who have done that, and that's how they get control of these countries. They just destroy the history. They destroy the education. They destroy the teachers. They destroy the schools. And so education, people, it is really the key. And so promote whoever you can that's doing any good work as far as education goes around the world and in North America, because education is really, it is the answer. It is exactly the answer. They've always tried to kill off the teachers, and they've always tried to kill off and to burn the schools down, and keep the people down, keep the people underneath their thumb. Because if they don't realize they have rights, what are they going to fight for? They'll just sit and take it. Right, they'll take whatever they're given because that's all they know, and that's what happened in Afghanistan. Afghanistan didn't used to be the way what it is right now, but everybody, because of a lack of education and a lack of knowledge, doesn't realize that Afghanistan was never the way it is right now. It's just that people destroyed the schools, they killed the teachers, or teachers had to escape and leave the country, just for to save their lives, and but many of them were killed, and they still are even today, and so they're. As long as they can keep the schools burnt down and the teachers killed off and the history gone, then those people will never know that they were free. And so that is exactly what's going on, people. That's what it is. It's all about education. And so, next time somebody says that, don't laugh at them. It's so serious. And if you have any education yourself at all, then you would know that. Start reading. Get interested. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's going to take every single person to change this world, to make it a better place for people. It is going to take us all, every single voice. So use your voice, whatever way. Like, I'm on Blog TV now. I'm going to start doing some stuff on Blog TV. It's free. All you need is an internet connection. I'm on Ustream, so I'll be incorporating stuff in on Ustream as well. That's free. I'm paying to do my blog talk shows because I wanted a premium account, because I wanted to be able to broadcast in the time slots that are like the best time slots, right? So I did that on purpose. But the other stuff is free. Use your voice. Get involved. Get involved in your local communities. Support groups who are doing anything out there to help promote education. I support the Canadian International Learning Foundation because they fund education in Afghanistan and Uganda. And they're trying to help these people to help themselves, right? And that's the only way we can do it, is by promoting education within these countries. And so I support them. I also support the Canadian Women for Women Afghanistan. They promote education. They build libraries. They help fund education in Afghanistan, and it's for women and girls, and it's just so awesome. And so do what you can, to help people around the world and in North America, support programs that are helping young mothers not kill their babies because they want to play Farmville, right? Support programs within your local communities that will help parents who are having a hard time coping, anger management problems, who are beating and abusing and killing their children. Support programs that will get to them before they actually do that to their child, right? And if you know of someone who's being abused, you do the right thing. If you know it is the law, you have to report it. And if you suspect abuse, then you have to do the right thing and you have to report it, right? So, I'm serious. This is what it's going to take. It's going to take all of us. And we just can't leave it up to another group or another group of people. Like, it's got to be us that makes this change, right? So that's it's my call to action, and I took it up, and I hope that you will too. So Monday night we'll be back on Dreamcatchers Talk Radio. We have a guest coming on, Deborah Boudreau, who writes under the name of her pen name Annie O'Sullivan. She has a book, Can You Hear Me Now? She's a survivor of child abuse. She's coming on our show to talk to Elizabeth Brawley and myself about her book and her story. I read it. It's an amazing story, and I'm so glad that she's still here. And I hope that you will check it out. That's www.blogtalkradio.com/dreamcatchers. So just type into Blog Talk Radio, search Dreamcatchers, and you will bring it up. It's all about child abuse education and prevention and awareness, to stop child abuse, right? But Monday night, November the 15th, we have a guest, and that is Deborah Boudreau, writing under the name of Annie O'Sullivan. And I hope that you will join us, because she's just going to be such a wonderful guest, and I'm so glad that she's still here with us, and she's going to share her story with us, and we're going to talk about the whole issues of child abuse and adult survivor issues and whatnot, and we're all survivors, all three of us. So I hope you will come and check it out. You can check my show page. I'll be back on tomorrow with Mount Bethel Christian Bible study, Getting Real with God. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, and then as well I'll be on next week with One Child Abuse Survivor to another. You can check my show page. So take care, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. Do what you can to help make this world a better place. I don't care what it is, but do whatever you can to help make this world a better place for our children. This is absolutely ridiculous, and we have to change it. It's going to be up to us. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.